well to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul Whiteside. How's your week been, mate?
Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, busy as usual. I always say the same thing. Not busy driving about up and down the motorways of the country. But yeah, looking forward to Saturday. I've got Friday off as well. I booked Friday off to go to Catalan, and I decided to keep the holiday because my wife's going out for a day with a friend. So I've got the school run to do, and then I've got a day to myself to chill out. So yeah, all good. Looking forward to Saturday as well. I know Imogen's really excited. Got our tickets the other day. My dad's away. My dad's on holiday in Cos with my sister and my mum. And little one. So he's not back till Saturday night. So he'll miss the game. He's gutted, but hopefully he can go to the next one. But yeah, I'm doing all right, mate. How's yourself?
Yeah, I went to Cos once, Paul. Party animal, all that. Before I had kids, it was good. It was good. It was a good day. I don't know if your dad will be doing that, but is he a bit of a party animal, Dad?
I've spoken to him a few times. He wanted to know how the rugby was going and whatever, and he likes to find everything out. So tell him everything what's going on and whatever. But I'm just letting him relax. Really, he's just in the pool all day with my sister's little girl's 3 now, so she just wants to swim all day long. So I think he's shattered from that. But no, he's having a good time.
He'll be finding one of them cafe bars that they'll put the game on for him. That'll be his first plan.
Well, he said to me today when I spoke to him, he watched some of, I think Halifax and Widnes were on Monday night on Premier Sports. So he's seen a bit. He found a cafe that had that on the other night. So he's doing that. He's like me. He likes a brew as well. He likes to go for a coffee and that. So he's doing all right.
Yeah. What have I been up to this week? I have just been working. Nothing exciting. Got the day off tomorrow. Going to try and sort my garden out tomorrow, weather permitting. So my dad's going to come round and we're going to be shifting a load of stuff to the tip. So ideal pre-match activity. Go and nip to the ground, get my ticket. Have you say you've got your ticket?
Yeah, I ordered them online on Sunday night or Saturday night, and Ellen kindly picked them up for me the other day. She had a day off the other day because my eldest started high school, so she had a day off just to see how she got out of school all right and whatever. And then she kindly bobbed down to Salford and picked the tickets up, so we've got our tickets. So I believe they've sold a lot as well. I believe there's a lot of people there queuing up, and the excitement's gone through the roof this week, hasn't it? So it is really exciting. I can't wait for Saturday. 1 o'clock kickoff as well. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it is. Like I say, that's what sort of playoff rugby is all about, isn't it? It's people get excited, don't they? The whole hopefully City turn up and we'll take a decent following to Huddersfield.
Yeah, definitely. That's what rugby league's all about. These games make it worthwhile, don't they? I mean, there's a lot of dead rugby games at the end of the season. We've been involved in loads of them, haven't we, over the years? But now these are what you want to be involved in out of these sort of matches. And you whisper it quietly, but you're 2 games away from a grand final, aren't you? 3 games away from being league champions for the first time in 46 years. So it's a bit weird, really, if you think it like that. But obviously, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a big mission. You've got a big away game this Saturday.
Yeah. So what we'll do, we'll obviously look back at the final home game of the season against Warrington. We'll look back at the ladies' win with Yasmin Sotomayor. They beat Oulton at weekend, and then we'll preview their game against Stanningley. We'll look at all the big news coming out of the club. We'll have a look at what's going on in the World Rugby League, Whiteside's World Rugby League, and then we'll preview the big games on Saturday and Sunday for the Salford Red Devils. So we'll start with the defeat against Warrington. So Salford were defeated in their final home game of the season against Warrington Wolves, who went down 14 points to 32. Paul, it was an experimental side, 6 debutants who came in from the reserves, and that did very well. Must have been proud of their efforts.
Yeah, I thought they did great. I mean, when I saw the team sheet, you had like Akawala playing in the centre, Harvey Levitt and Morgan Escray in the half, but there was a few players out of position there, and obviously the lads from reserves coming in. I thought, blimey, looked at Warrington's team. I know they rested a few, but they had some, Clark was in there, George Williams was in there, and Matautia and 1 or 2 others. So I thought they had quite a strong side out. So I thought we might be in for a bit of a big score. But, as the game progressed, I thought we played really well. And for patches there, I think we were the better side, really. We had a couple of tries disallowed as well, and things didn't quite go our way. But I thought we gave Warrington more than a game. And, I think the scoreline flattered them, really. I know they got that late try from an interception, but there wasn't a lot in that game at all. And credit the defence. I mean, young players there could have sort of, heads could have dropped. They could have let plenty of points, but they didn't. They kept the steal. And those 6 lads who made their debuts, they look like they've been playing for years. They really did look assured and calm, and they did everything right. Jack Stevens, come on, he's only a youngster as well. I thought he did really well. So, and then the lad Miles Dalton Harrop, he got the ball there and just went for that line. What a great thing to do on your debut, score a great try.
Yeah, fairy tale stuff. Obviously, you've gone through the whole process, and obviously to get that opportunity, and obviously to dive over the line like that, it's dreams come true stuff, really. But for the whole, the lads, Josh Rourke, Joseph Kruplin, Franklin, Miles Dalton Hallett, Jack Stevens, Daniel Spencer Thompson, Henry Davis, I thought they were very good. I thought, it's an opportunity club, and that is what the red thread is all about. I know Paul Trainer and Chris Irwin are involved in that, and it's about bringing them lads through. And obviously Paul Rowley, when we spoke to Stuart Wilkinson a few weeks back, he says that Paul Rowley goes to every game and he sees them play and he knows where they are in their development. So it's great that obviously they've got this opportunity. They're only going to get better, aren't they? With this experience. And we might see him again in 12, 18 months' time. You never know.
Yeah, well, that's got to be the plan. Those lads have got to be pushing to get into the first team, haven't they? And I'm sure that all 6 of them could do. They keep working hard. I think that's the thing now. You've got to keep working hard and take what you can from that game, because that experience is going to be vital. But as I said before, they didn't look out of place to me. They looked like they belonged in the Super League playing there, and outplayed Warrington for large spells. I mean, you look at the team they had there, and they kept players quiet. George Williams, I think he got man of the match in one of the newspapers, but you didn't really see him in that game. They did keep him quiet. I mean, they had 1 or 2 young lads out as well. The young scrum half, whose name escapes me, for what's his name now? For Warrington, Leon Hayes. Yeah, I thought he reminded me of a young Luke Robinson. He was really busy around the ruck, and Warrington have got some quality there. But it was a good game. I enjoyed the match. It was nice to be able to, not sort of worry about the scoreline, because you did sort of worry, because you had one ear on what was going on in the Leeds and Cass game, didn't we, as well, to see what was going on there. But we knew we were already in the playoffs. It was just a case of where we finished. So it was nice to go to a game and enjoy it, and not sort of be panicking every 5 minutes about the score. And it was good to see. It was a proud moment. It was great to see Logan Tompkins come out as well before the game. He gave great service to Salford, and that was nice to see him come back. So I enjoyed the day. It was good.
Yeah, obviously opportunity for players who have come back from injury or not played for a while. Amir Borough, he got a very good period of the game, I thought, and that's what it's about, I suppose. James Greenwood coming back as well from injury. These extra bodies coming back for Paul Rowley adds selection headaches to an already strong squad moving forward.
Yeah, well, I think the King, Vuniayu are coming back, and Shane Wright coming back against Cass as well. I think those two, we seem to be getting players back at the right time of the season, where we struggled for injuries throughout the season in the forwards. But whereas other teams now are picking up knocks, I think St Helens have picked knocks up, we're going to pick knocks up. We're getting players back, touch wood. We've not lost anybody, I don't think, for this week. I'm not too sure yet. I know Ryan Briley was struggling after the Cass game, wasn't he? He had injections and things like that. But hopefully we're going to be healthy, and that them couple of weeks off has done the players the world of good. Great to see James Greenwood back as well. I mean, he needs to be careful if he plays against Huddersfield, because he got sent off last time. He was the wrong man, wasn't he? That got sent off. But no, and he scored as well, and he scored a lot of tries for Salford. He's played very minimal games, but when he does play, he seems to pop up with a try. So yeah, it was a good performance.
Yeah, I subtly talked to me after the game, Paul, and obviously he was sort of very happy with the lads that have come in and made their debuts, but he also had that focus that the next game is really important.
Yeah, he's a brilliant lad, Sam. I think he's probably been on the podcast more than anybody this season, hasn't he? He's always up for a chat, and yeah, to watch him develop the way he has done over the last 2 years, I think he's becoming a real part of the team now. He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet. He's so reliable now in the forwards. He's got a really good offload game. His progression has been outstanding, and it just shows you can bring players in from League One, and they can step up to Super League. I think he's been a great find for us, along with some other players who've stepped up as well. That's a Dion Cross, Alex Gerrard's come in. They've come in from lower leagues, and they've done really well for us. So yeah, he's got his head screwed on, and he knows there's big things to come now. There's a big week ahead, and I'm sure he's focusing on that with his flatmate Shane Wright.
Yeah, obviously them two living together, it's a nice little sort of partnership they got going there, both on the field and and in the house, I presume.
Yeah, I think they've got a bit of a bromance, them two, haven't they? But two good lads. Shane Wright's another one. Like I said before, I think he's come back at the right time of the season. If you watch his performance against Cass, he's a worker, a real worker, and he's an experienced forward as well. And you're going to need that against Huddersfield this week, and they've got some experience in that pack, like Chris Hill and Chris McQueen. They've got years behind them. So Shane Wright's a pivotal player for us.
Yeah, King Bunyayawa went off with a bit of a shoulder knock, bit of a worry, but I think Paul Rowley just said it was a bang, so that's nothing to worry about, which kind of justifies his decision to rotate his squad. There's obviously nobody injured apart from maybe Kingy.
Yeah, and King's another good guy that's come back as well. So, I remember having a chat with him a couple of months ago, and I don't think I put the interview out as I don't think I sent it to you because it was really sad because he spoke and he was really down about how things were and saying how he loved playing for the club, but he was really disappointed that he was injured and sort of said to him, "Well, good luck. I hope to see you before the end of the season." He had a big smile. He sort of winked at me at the weekend and glad to see him back. So yeah, because he's a really good lad, really sort of quietly spoken lad. But I think his performance at the Cass, every time he runs the ball and he's running hard, running to burst, and he could be a massive weapon for us in the playoffs.
Yeah, obviously our forward pack isn't massive, but he is the biggest of the lot, and like you say, he makes big meters. He's quite mobile, I think, as well for a big forward, which it sort of helps us play the Paul Rowley way, because obviously that's what it's all about. It's about moving the ball, and if you can't be sort of hankered down with having a massive forwards, wouldn't quite work. So him being quite mobile and be able to big meters sort of works out really well. So talking about Paul Rowley, here he is after the game, actually talking about the players that had played and the sort of how proud that he was that they'd played well and experienced that first team environment, but he was looking forward to this week.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. It's that time of year now, isn't it? I mean, he was up in the air whether he was going to get Catalan away and Huddersfield away. To be honest with you, I don't think Paul Rowley really had a preference. I think once you're in the playoffs, you go for whoever you get, don't you? So obviously, some of the supporters might be saving a few bob going to Huddersfield, but I think if you'd ask the players, I don't know. I think you just want to play now, don't you? And play the best. And yeah, it's just this week. I mean, I know we'll speak about it in a preview, but there's a lot on this game. There's the ex-players, quite a few ex-players at Huddersfield. You've got Ian Watson as well. The games we played against them this season have been pretty intense. And, 1 o'clock fixture, big following down there at the weekend. You can't ask for more than that. It's fever pitch and it's dead exciting.
Yeah. Looking at the stats, Daniel Spencer-Tonks with 27 tackles, Henry Davis with 24 tackles, Ryan Lanham with 31, and Sam Luckley with 21. Henry Davis impressed me. I think he's a good forward, worked hard, and the tackle stats show that.
Yeah, he's a no-nonsense forward. He came off the bench, didn't he, and worked his socks off there. His stats will tell you that there. On your debut, you could be pretty nervous, but they all got stuck in. But Henry in particular, he got really stuck in there, and and impressed me. And I just hope now that these lads continue to progress and we see them developing and see them in the first team, because if we do, I think that's a massive hats off to the club and everybody involved in sort of developing a pathway. We've had people say to us before, "Oh, you've got no academy, you don't produce any players," but it's there for all to see now. Those lads coming through. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Yeah, Paul Rowley talks about the people behind the scenes who've got these lads Super League ready, and he was full of praise for them, and that is what we are as a club. We're an opportunity club, out with Paul. We give these lads who have sort of not been picked up by the big clubs or want to play in Super League and are willing to travel 100 miles to get here, the opportunity to play possibly in Super League, and these 6 lads have taken that opportunity, and it's a message, I think, for potential players who want to come to our club in 2023. They'll look at the lads there who've gone through this journey and think, you know what, I can do that.
Yeah, I think for any player that's thinking about signing for Salford for 2023, or probably a lot of players, all the players have agents nowadays, don't you? You think your agent would be saying, Salford's a good club to go to because you get looked after there. The staff are really good. Like you said, there's a lot of people behind the scenes that you don't hear of that making the club tick, and yeah, you can't argue with that. I think you'll get looked after, and like you said, you'll get the opportunity as well if you're good enough. So yeah, and you ask any of the first team players this season, they're all playing with a smile on their face. I don't think I've seen a team spirit like this one. I mean, we talk about 2019, but even then, I think the team spirit now is absolutely remarkable, and everybody seems to be enjoying it. They've always got smiles on their faces, win, lose or draw. So yeah, any sort of Australian internationals that want to sign for Salford in 2023, I highly recommend it. So there you go.
You've been watching Rowley Ball on, is it Fox in Australia? I think I fancy that. And
yeah,
next thing you know, they stood at the stadium next to Ian Lees with a shirt in their hand.
well, you look at Brodie Croft. I mean, I think we've mentioned this on the podcast before, haven't we? He sort of had a rough time in Australia, and yet he's come over to Salford now, and his reputation's gone through the roof. You know, there's people mentioning on Twitter that such a club's interested, which you always get. If a player's playing well at a rugby league club or a football club or whatever club, there'll always be interesting good players from other clubs. That's just, you know, the circle of sport, isn't it? So yeah, the circle of sport. There's a new one for you. But,
Right, that went down. Circle of sport.
Yeah. I was going to say the circle of life, but I'm not saying that. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. I mean, Jack Stacey was another one, wasn't he? Who came over under a bit of a cloud, and we resurrected his career. And you know, not just Salford, he did a lot of that himself through hard work and endeavour. So yeah, I think Salford's an attractive place to come and play your rugby league.
Yeah. Top meter makers: Daniel Spencer Tonks 83, Henry Davies 83, Ryan Land 92, Harvey Levett 89, and Rhys Williams 130. So Daniel Spencer Tonks with 83, Ryan Lamb with 92. That's a fair old shift from him.
Yeah, Ryan Lannon's a bit of an unsung hero at the club, isn't he? He doesn't always get the rap and the sort of adulation that other players get because he just gets on with it. You know, he's been at Salford a long time, hasn't he? Now, and I know he had that brief spell where he left and went to OKR, but he's a reliable player, and I think he's improved this season. I think he's improved over the last couple of months. He's playing pretty well at the moment now and keeps himself fit. He could be in the team. Rhys Williams is another guy, never lets us down when he plays, and I know, you know, Paul Rowley might have a bit of a selection edit this week, and if Joe Burgess is fit, does he go with Rhys Williams and Kensey, or does he bring Joe back? I'm not too sure, but Rhys will never let you down. He's he's a real worker and pops up with a try as well.
Yeah. Big thanks for your 3-word match reports and man of the matches. Nicholas Fletcher, good account given. Sam Luckley, Ken Longworth, future looks good. Ronnie H, I enjoyed the rugby. Patrick Connolly, reserves did fine. Daniel Spencer Tonks. So yeah, obviously we'd already qualified for the playoffs, so it wasn't really about winning the game. It was more about watching them lads develop, which is what they did. So good result all around. Win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and it was about getting through that game with minimal sort of disruption, really, and loads of injuries and things like that. You can't go into a game half-out because you will get injured, but I think it was about managing that game and managing the squad because you've got to do, I think. I mean, I'm not a big fan of what goes on sometimes. I mean, I think it was the night before Catalans played Wigan and they more or less tossed the game and played a load of players who no one had ever heard of. I think they had a 40-point start on the coupon. They were 40-1 to win the game. So they're obviously not going to win the match. And I thought to myself, is it right? Is it right to do that? And I know Saints and Wigan seemed to play weakened sides the week before, didn't they, in their 2 games when we was at Cass. And I thought, does it affect the integrity of the competition? Our teams trying to pick where they go and who they want to play in the playoffs. I wasn't too sure, but I thought, regards Salford, I think we had to do because our squad's small. We've got players who are probably playing like Ryan Briley with painkilling injections. They're struggling. Is another week going to finish them off and burn them out? Because what we don't want is to play a full-strength side against Warrington and then be too tired and shattered for the playoff game against Huddersfield. So I think we've had to manage it right. Whether other teams have done it right because they've got the resources to I don't know. But it's tough. It's a long season, isn't it? And I think you've got to manage that squad best you can.
We earned the right to do what we want in that situation, where if we were going for that last game, we needed a win, I'm sure Paul Rowley would have played a different team altogether. So us finishing, being 5th at that point, we earned the right to do what we want. And if I think Paul Rowley said in one of his press conferences that we were near the red line, which means I think his players are, on the verge of breaking down. So if he thinks a week off for certain players will benefit them in the run up to a semi-final, final, then he's the coach. He does what he wants, and obviously we beat Huddersfield on Saturday. His decision is right in it.
Yeah, and that's the way the game's geared up now, Rob, isn't it? I mean, you gear up all season for the playoffs, and then when the playoffs come, you've got to be right, you've got to be fit, you've got to be healthy to kick on into that playoffs. And the teams that are will do well. The teams that are wailing and running out of steam are the ones that will drop out and get beat. It's all right finishing top 2 or 3. Wigan say they pick a few injuries up, or I think St Helens have hit a lot of patchy form recently. I think the last sort of 6 weeks they've gone off the boil a bit, haven't they? They've lost a few games. I mean, they weren't very convincing at the weekend against Toulouse. They always seem to come good in the playoffs, but are they going to do this time? Are they just going to run out a bit of steam? Have they got a few injuries? Nobody knows yet. We'll have to wait and see. But no, I think Paul Rowley was absolutely bang on. We are doing the right to do that. And you've not rested people, really. Those players are Salford players. So yeah, no, I think he did the right thing, and let's hope it's worked for this week.
Yeah, our ladies were in action against Oulton on the community pitch before the game, and I spoke to Yasmin Sotomayor about their win, and this is what she had to say. Yep, so we're joined by Salford Red Devils ladies star Yasmin Parton Sotomayor. Welcome to the show, Yas. Looking forward to this.
Definitely so, yeah.
Brilliant. Obviously, let's talk about the victory on Saturday. You faced Oulton and won 20 points to 10. Great result for you ladies.
Definitely big win. Really good vibes in the run up, really good vibes after, and still now.
Yeah, obviously, you faced Oulton before away from home, and they beat us. But obviously, coming back to the AJ Bell, was that talked about in the build-up to the game?
Yeah, well, it was discussed kind of between the girls. We talked about it between us. I think we've spoken to a couple of people at the club, but we didn't let it get to us. We're a better team now than we were when we played them back then, so we're all raring to go.
Yeah, obviously we had a few injuries back then, didn't we? So obviously with a really kind of full strength team, it was really two teams playing some good rugby. Number 1 and number 2 in the league. It really was a really good game.
Very good game, yeah. Some big hits.
And then I suppose that's your game. You love a bit of that, don't you?
I do. I love a big hit.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably one of your assets, isn't it? Obviously being in the forwards, putting the big hits in, and obviously sort of making the big meters as well. We talk about our forward pack being really strong, and it's kind of shown throughout the season. Not just yourself, there's lots of different players. Casey Naylor for one, players who can make big meters in traffic.
Yeah. Definitely, and I think we've kind of grown in confidence, grown in a bit of aggression throughout the season, and just kind of got more and more meters, bigger and bigger hits.
Yeah, and obviously a big crowd as well at the AJ Bell Stadium. Great to play in front of all them fans, obviously before the game.
Huge crowd. I think I turned around to Demi at one point and said, "Oh, look how many people are watching us."
Does it make you nervous playing in front of lots of people?
I don't think I realised till about 10-15 minutes towards the end of the game. So you kind of just in the zone, aren't you? You're just on the pitch, not really paying attention.
And I suppose that's a thing you've got to kind of get used to. Obviously, playing in bigger stadiums, bigger crowds. Because obviously the bigger the women's game grows, the more people will watch and the more crowd you'll get.
Definitely. But I'm sure. Well, hopefully, when we played at the AJ Bell, things like that, they'll become a bit of an 18th man for us.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will. Obviously, lots of fans talking about your journey, and when you look back at what you've sort of achieved, it's been amazing this year.
Yeah, don't think any of us ever expected it at the start of the season. I know I certainly didn't. But to have the backing of the fans, backing of the club, you guys, it definitely pushed us on a bit more than we expected.
Yeah, obviously let's talk about the win against Oulton. Very physical game. They scored first. We hit back with a try from Kate Gary. Lovely assist from Vicky Kinney, put her over to put us in front.
Yeah, good try from Gary actually, just straight through down the wing. Not really sure what happened before that, but I think I was already a little bit gassed by that point. It was really intense through the middle. Yeah.
And I suppose, obviously, being like the forward pack, you build the platform, don't you, for the likes of Kate Garrett to go and score the tries, and it's really a team effort in this situation. It
is, yeah. Make the meters through the middle, shift out wide,
and then let the pace do the damage. That's the plan. The next try was from Lauren Ellison, trying the corner for her. She's a real firecracker of a winger, pace to burn, and goes over in the corner for the score.
Yeah, I think that came from a set play. So set play that went well. and you can always count on Lauren to put it down over the line.
Obviously, we talk about sort of rally ball a lot for the men's team. Sort of Chris Bates, you've got you playing some fantastic rugby.
Definitely. He describes it as an expansive brand of rugby.
Does it? Oh. Well, we will call it baseball, I think. So we're in front. What was going through your mind at that point?
I think at that point, they were very much still in the game. We knew who we had to cut out of the game, but they were definitely still very much in the game. So it was all to play for. It was just carry on playing kind of how we're playing, make sure we're completing our sets, making meters through the middle, and yeah, solid in defence.
And squeeze and punish any mistakes that they make. Next Salford try was from Kaylee Bradshaw to make it 14-6. Unsung hero for me, Kaylee Bradshaw, works hard and well deserved that try.
Definitely. That came from a play on the other side of the pitch. So I think, again, Bates ball, being able to make a play on one side and shift it all the way to the other side. It was a bit of a thank God moment then. I think we'd knew that we'd nearly won it.
And then the last try, Casey Naylor burrowing away over from close range. I think she did it earlier in the season. I think she did it against Swinton, and I think she did it against, might have been Stanningley or Illingworth, going kind of short side and going over. Destructive runner from close range. No one's going to stop from there.
Yeah, Casey classic. I think we'd all lost it at that point on the sideline, definitely. A couple of minutes to go and we've just scored again.
Yeah. I think Lauren Ellison ran about 20 yards to jump on her.
Yeah,
I've seen the video, mass pylon. But I say it's a great result, and obviously, we talk about sort of the journey, and obviously beating Oulton for me, it's a big thing. Obviously, they're our main competitor, and going forward into this playoff sort of competition that we're going to be going in the next couple of weeks, if we are to face them again, we know how to beat them. Yeah,
definitely, we know how to beat them. Kind of played them enough now, know who their key players are, know how they're going to play. But at the end of the day, if we play our own game of rugby, we play in attack how we play, in defence solid, then I think we can beat anyone.
Yeah. So obviously, let's talk about yourself now. How did you get into rugby league?
So I started playing rugby union when I was about 18. Union through and through, so didn't really watch rugby league, wasn't really a fan of rugby league, but I'd played down at Trafford with Vicky.
Yeah.
And then when trials came about, she sent me a message, see if I fancied a trial. Initially, I just came for a bit of fitness, brush up on my skills, things like that. Things got a bit more serious. Here I am.
Obviously, coming from the sort of rugby union background, was the sort of transition hard for you? Obviously, because it's really, a lot of people talk about rugby union being sort of a different sport, and as a player, did you find that sort of transition difficult going from a rugby union background into rugby league one?
Personally, as a rugby union forward, I found it really hard. So as a second row in union, you're thinking about your scrums, you're thinking about your lineouts, and you're just thinking about constant contact, kind of rucks, things like that. Come over to rugby league and you're involved in all sorts of plays, you're passing under pressure, the game's a lot faster. I'm not very fast, don't know if you've ever noticed.
Well, you say that. I've seen you like burst the middle, and I think to myself, I suppose because you are a forward, you're not lightning, but you absorb defenders, don't you? And that is what you are. Really, a lot of people. I think of you as like Andy Coley. Don't even know Andy Coley. Played for us in the sort of early 2000s. Good player. Used to burst the middle quite a lot. And I always think to myself, Yaz is as that. Don't know when I told you that. He might have been about -2 or something in 2000 or whatever it was. But you do remind me of him a lot.
I'll have to go and give him a watch.
Google him. Yeah, Google him or YouTube him. He went to Wigan. Wigan ruined him, but he was Salford. He was top draw.
Yeah. No, well, thank you, I guess. But yeah, I'm quite a big forward.
Yeah.
And if I run hard enough, then I've drawn a fair few defenders in there.
And obviously playing rugby league, I think it suits your style of play, because obviously you've got sort of 10 yards to run into, which when you run 10 yards, you can go through the gears, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. hate to say it, but I do think I'm a little bit better at rugby league than I am rugby union. Yeah.
And obviously in our off season, do you plan to go back playing rugby union, or?
Yeah,
You might be
definitely.
twice a player now. You like playing a rugby league player.
Possibly, I hope so.
She says.
I hope so.
You'll be like, what's Yasmin doing? So, after that, you got to Salford. You started training with the ladies. Got to that first game against Swinton. What was that like after walking out the AJ Bell?
So I actually didn't play in the first game against Warrington.
So what was it like watching it? Were you injured or?
No, so obviously I work in rugby union as well.
Oh, right.
So I was on an away day with work there. Missed out on that. Don't think I actually played until we played against Wigan in that friendly.
Yeah.
Not a nervous person, but I was so nervous before that game.
Right.
Yeah.
I suppose because you've never played the sport before, and you're playing against Wigan as well, which is a big team. So obviously you play that game. You feel better after the game. You think to yourself, "Yeah, I'm made for this."
Not really. I think I played second row, and it was just so out of my comfort zone, so different to what I know from rugby union. Just felt a little bit lost, to be honest.
So when did you start to think, "Oh, I'm comfortable here"? How many games down the line was that?
It was probably 2 or 3 games later. I can't remember if it was the cup game against Featherstone Lions.
Yeah, watch that
or
one.
Dewsbury Moor, it might have been. Playing in the middle, kind of just taking the big carries like I'm used to, tackling like I'm used to. Yeah. And
now we've grown into this top player that we see before us now.
Definitely. I don't think training back in Eccles Sports Hall, I would have thought that I could be the player that I am now, to be honest.
Yeah. So obviously we get to the cup final. What was that like?
So I'm very I don't think about the game. I think about things kind of one step at a time.
Okay.
So on a game day, the first thing I think about is my breakfast.
Okay. And what's that?
I think it's normally bacon, hash brown, and egg bagel with a little bit of brown sauce.
Okay.
And then I think about what I'm going to do in the changing rooms, putting my socks on, strapping my ankle up, things like that. And then once I got onto the pitch in the final, I just thought, let's just go and play rugby, hit people, run hard. That's it. But I didn't actually kind of clock that we're in a final till I came off the pitch. I think I turned around to Helena and said, "Oh, we're in the final."
I suppose sometimes that works in your favour because you're not thinking about it and overthinking it, are you, throughout the week or whatever. So I suppose that mentality helps in the build-up to a cup final, and obviously it helps you to express yourself on the field. And we obviously went and won the game, which was great. And what was that like after the game, obviously winning the cup?
Incredible vibes. Sun was out. I think we had Tina Turner on, which is a favourite of ours.
Right.
Yeah, just buzzing. First season, first kind of cup win. Really exciting times.
So we won the cup, and we've gone on this journey now in the league, top of the table. Obviously, we've got one game to go. Win that, we could be champions.
We could be. Stanningley first.
Yeah, I suppose everyone says to me, we'll take every game as it comes, which is right, isn't it? Obviously, you can't overthink. You can't plan 2, 3, 4 games down the line because you might take the eye off the ball, which lets Oulton back in. Yeah,
exactly. So one game at a time, carry on playing the rugby that we're playing. On our day, we'll be in that final any day of the week.
Let's just move that to one side though, and let me get a bit excited about it. We get in the playoffs. We win the playoffs. We go to Super League. Have you thought about that, playing Super League rugby?
It'd be exciting, wouldn't it? It'd be a nice step to take. I haven't thought a whole lot about it, to be honest. I'm just kind of playing my rugby, turning up to training, playing my rugby again. And if I happen to be playing that rugby in the Super League, then that's a big achievement for myself and the team.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get focused back on the next game, which is what it's all about, keeping your mind focused on what's in front of us. Stanningley away on Sunday. Big game. Obviously, like you say, it's could be potential crowning of champions.
Yes, it could be. So again, as I've said many times, if we just play our rugby, the way we play our rugby, play Bates ball, meters through the middle, shift out wide, genuinely think we should be okay against Stanningley.
Do we, obviously the experience of winning the cup against Oral, do you think that's going to help in the next sort of game and the next couple of games after being the playoffs and that?
I think we've learnt to play to an occasion, or we've learnt to not let an occasion get to us. Certainly. I know that I turn up just to play rugby every day, whether it's to win a cup final or to kind of beat relegation. I'm still going to play the same rugby, the rugby that I'm taught to play, the rugby that I like to play. And I'd like to think that everyone else is kind of the same.
Yeah, because everyone seems like they're in it together, and that's the important thing. This massive team spirit that we've got sort of carried you ladies through, and that's an important thing when it comes to sort of the big games at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've made such a cute little kind of camaraderie, like a little family. Always socialising, always really excited to see each other. Definitely.
Is socialising a good part of it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's nice to be able to kind of just have a chat, have a laugh with your teammates.
And that's what it's all. It's that team spirit, and if you've got sort of players that are around you who can produce the magic, and everyone's working hard, there's only one way you're going to go, which is up.
Exactly. One team, one dream, I believe they say.
One team, one dream.
Stronger. There we go.
Gonna write that one down. I'm gonna steal that one. One team, one dream. So obviously, sort of off the field now. So what do you do for a living?
So I'm a sport rehabilitator.
Oh, a bit like Helen. No.
Yeah. Met Helena at uni.
Oh. Were you the girl that Helena went playing rugby with?
No, oh. I like to think I roped her into rugby.
Oh.
Roped her over to the dark side.
Talk me through that process. When did you meet Helena?
So I'd met her in first year. We'd been in kind of the same classes, same lectures together.
Yeah.
Nights out, as you do at uni, just created a little bit of a friendship. And obviously I'd started playing rugby at uni, started playing for the uni team, tried to drag her out on a couple of socials with the rugby team, and then kind of talked her into it. I do think she was thinking of it anyway. But yeah, like to think that I pushed her into it.
Sound like you were like the party animal of the group. Is that right?
Information I shall not disclose.
Right, okay. Understood. So obviously, sports rehabilitation is really important. Obviously, for any sportsman or sports sort of woman to make sure that the body's sort of right is a big thing. And obviously, you have that sort of skill to make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. I like to call us the unsung heroes of a team. Do the work behind the scenes, put everyone back together, tape them up, kind of whatever they need help with. And contributes again to the success of any team. If you're doing it well, you're doing it effectively.
And it's useful when you do smash someone, you just check they're all right, and if I need to fix them. Definitely.
I think I have done that a couple of times, actually. Kind of landed on someone's head and had to double check that they're all right.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, it's amazing talking to you, Yaz, and obviously, we've got a couple of big games to go, and wish you all the luck in the world. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating a Super League spot in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you very much. I hope so too.